You don't want to miss this video because today we're gonna see the top 10 fantasy releases of this year that are obsessing the whole Booktube community and that you cannot miss. And how I know this? Well, I researched your favorite Booktubers and saw all of their most anticipated releases, cross-referencing those books that were more hype. But make sure to stick till the end because then I will be sharing my top 3 anticipated releases that are not mentioning in this list. I will be sharing these amazing 10 new books in the chronological order of release. And let's start with the 4 secret projects of Brandon Sanderson. This idea as a whole received 6 out of 8 votes because yes, Sanderson will be releasing 4 new books this year. The first one, Trust of the Emerald Sea, it's already out for those that backed the Kickstarter project, but the ebook is going to be available mid-January and it's going to be mass marketed in April. The remaining 3 books are going to be released throughout the year, placing each of these books per quarter. We know that out of those 4 books, there's going to be 1 that is outside the Cosmere. And although for this list, I mainly try to just have first books in a series, there are 2 that are super popular. And one of them releases in January and it's Hellbent, the second book in the 9th house by Lee Verdugo. This book got 4 out of 8 votes. And I really can understand this because the first book, 9th house, has a 4.04 and almost 200,000 ratings. So it's very popular. You can expect from this a mysterious book full of dark academia themes, secret societies, and overall we have a main character who has a second chance in life and it's trying to make up for the different things. And the elements that are mainly generating traction for this book and making it one of the most anticipated releases of this year is that mainly it's a book from Lee Verdugo and everyone is really excited for her to write things outside her Grishaverse, which is outstanding. And it seems that her writing style has really improved for this one and that she has created a world that is fantastic. Personally, I still need to read the first one, but I cannot wait. A brief summary of the story is that we'll follow our main character, Alex, who wakes up one day and she has this opportunity to get into jail and she will be there to investigate a crime and investigate the different secret societies that are lying around in jail. But what she will discover is that things are way more darker and way more serious than she expected. Another release of January is Godkiller by Hannah Kana, and this is very exciting because although it's a new debut of the author, it got 4 out of 8 votes as well. There are a lot of different themes that are generating so much interest. There's of course these gods, deity themes. There's therefore going to be a lot of different discussions around free will, about destiny, about power, and how transcendent is the relationship between godlings and mortals. At least this is what the community expects. It's relatively short with about 300 pages and it seems that it's going to be fairly whimsical, that it has a good blend between character and plot driven, and it's going to be very fast paced, which seems to me a perfect book to get us out of a reading slump. There's something to take into consideration and it's that we will have 4 different points of view, which I believe will make it for a little bit of a complex read at the beginning, but at its core is going to be a quest. Another very popular element mentioned by a lot of booktubers is that this book cover is amazing and a lot of people would want to have it, me included. And this story will follow different points of view. In one hand, we will have Kisen, who is trained to kill gods, and it seems that it's her job. She does it perfectly until one day she will meet with this god of white lies that she cannot kill. And this god seems to be linked with this girl from a noble house that seems to be on the run. And we will also have another point of view, Elogast. He is a warrior, he has fight in this war, but he will be set on a quest by the king, and it seems that the path of all of them will merge and the story unfolds from there. And we move to February with a gothic story full of ambience, of romance, of mystery, of tension, with The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chomsky, the author of the Gilded Wolves trilogy. This is the beginning of another series. It's also pretty short, rounding the 300 pages, and what is getting everyone obsessed about this book, it's basically the lush environment, this gothic sensation, and overall this beautiful blend between a fairy tale and also a gothic story, which is not at all that common. We go to one of the most exciting releases we have in this video with A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. And this is the prequel of Priory of the Orange Tree, which currently has a 4.23 stars. Personally, I have a little bit of a torn relationship with Priory. I really enjoyed the lash writing. The story seems fascinating, and what happened I really liked. But then for me, it was a little bit complex to connect with the characters, but I am hoping for this book to redeem it. And this book, it's so craved by the community because Priory's world seemed so lush, it's so gigantic that everyone was like, there's more to this world, there are more stories in here. And that's precisely what we will see here, because these events will happen 500 years before the events of Priory. This, however, will fall on the more chunky side with almost 900 pages. From what we got from the summary, it seems that we will have similar things of what we got from Priory, which is a win. We're going to have a deeply political story that is going to be spread across this massive land, which will allow us to know it better. There's also going to be a lot of religious topics and how religion is treated in different lands and how it's that representation. And we will also have these drops of dragon wars around it. Moving to March, we have another very much anticipated release with The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi. This is honestly one of my most exciting releases of this year. I've just read the first book in the Devavat trilogy, so City of Brass, but I've loved it so much, and it seems that the story just gets better. And what I've heard and read from the early reviewers is that this book, it's such an incredible beginning of a trilogy that it's really outstanding. What has everyone crazy about this book, it's one, the traction of the author. So, you know, she has won a lot of people. She has an amazing writing style. She has stories that are emotional, that are romantic, that are adventurous, that are life-changing, and she deserves distraction. But second, because this is a story about pirates, about demons, and it promises to be very adventurous, very lush, and very fresh. At its core, we will have a heist, and it seems from the reviews that it's going to be a little bit lighter in tone, that it's going to be super fast-paced, and that this sorcerer, these pirates, these forbidden artifacts kind of elements just blend for an amazing short read. Short, not necessarily in pages, because this is also going to be pretty chunky. And in general lines, this story will follow Amina. She's about to retire. She's one of the most famous pirates, but one day she will be offered an opportunity that she cannot decline. But what she sees while chasing it, it's that the price in order to get it, it's not only her time, but it seems that also her soul. In April, we have Untethered Sky by Fondely. This also got 5 out of 8 votes, and honestly, it's one of the most hyped books out there. Like, everyone really is craving it. Fondely is a writer of the Greenbone saga, which is still kind of a hidden gem outside of the Booktube community, but it's gaining so much love and it's so well deserved, and everyone is so excited by her writing a new book. In this case, it's going to be a standalone novella, so there's going to be a lot of difference for what we're used to. Starters, it's way shorter. There's going to be around 200 pages. It's a standalone. There's going to be epic fantasy versus this even fantasy that we got in the Greenbone saga, but we are all hoping for this book to pack a punch, and for what I've seen in the early reviews, it's that everyone is really enjoying it, that it's outstanding, and it's going to be a pretty adventurous book with a fairly good blend between character and plot driven. The main emotion that we will see here, it's revenge, as we will be following our main girl Esther, that she is on a revenge spree because her family has been killed by a manticore, which also is one of the elements that has everyone raving about it. Like animal companions, that's amazing, but fighting manticores, that's also outstanding. In May, we have a top fantasy release that for me was a little bit of a surprise, The Wheel of the Many by James Islington. This book got 4 out of 8 votes, and this is the same writer of the Lycanus trilogy. What we will see here, though, it's an academia setting with a Roman-inspired world building. Also on the longer side, with around 7 1100 pages. And honestly, it's very similar to the premise of Red Rising. Everyone is excited about this book because he already proved to be a phenomenal writer, able to craft very, very compelling magic systems. And although not much really is explained in the synopsis, everyone is kind of hoping for it to also shine here. In essence, we will have this character that needs to infiltrate and become the best one within this academia, rise to the different ranks in order to serve his own secret purposes. It seems though that there's this magic system called the will, which is the ability to focus, to produce things, and well, the story will unfold from there. Also in May, and very, 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 very hyped by everyone. Also in the comments of those videos were like, yes, I really want to read that book. It's Witch King by Martha Wells. She is very famous for the Mark the Bot series, and although I haven't read that, and that leans way more in the sci-fi world, she comes back to epic fantasy with this story about demons. It seems that we'll also have a slightly funnier tone, although the topics are going to be pretty heavy and there's going to be a lot of demons, and the dynamics between them are going to be very fascinating, or at least that's what it seems. It's going to be very tense and very fast-paced, very action-packed. It seems also that there's a read that demands a little bit of attention because we will be blending fragments from the past and fragments from the present, so you kind of like need to be there to understand our characters and what is happening. And everyone is excited about it because not only this writer has proven herself in the past, but also there's demons. And in summary, we'll have a main character, Kai, who is a demon, and he has been kind of separated and his conscience is somewhere, and he kind of like awakens because someone is trying to steal his powers, and he is gonna be like, nah. The thing is that he doesn't remember why he's here or what is happening, and he sees that the political setting that he is living right now, it's very different to what he left before, and we will understand what is happening and how he can almost fix things. We shall see. We have in July Lightbringer, which is book 6 in the Red Rising saga by Pierce Brown. And this is exciting because this saga has so many fans. There's this amazing blend of sci-fi, of politics, of romance, of friendship, of tense moments. There's this very action-packed story. So this is the perfect moment to pick up the series if you haven't already. In here we will have a society that it's divided in different layers, and those layers are reflected as colors, and our main character belongs to the lowest color, the red, and he will find himself in a difficult situation, and he will, you know, embark himself on a challenge, on a journey, on a quest to change their society once and for all. Right, but now there are 3 anticipated releases for me that are just outstanding. Some of these were also mentioned by some booktubers, but it wasn't as popular. But for me, Blood Over Bright Heaven by Emil Wong, it's a yes, here's my money, please take it, like it's yours. She's a writer of Sword of Kagan, which is my favorite standalone. It's one of my top 3 favorite fantasy books of all time. It's outstanding and it's so different and it has so many good elements. And this book has been perfect for fans of Liebe Dugo, B.E. Schwab, and Full Metal Alchemist. Like what? Also, we have The Bone-Shot War, which is the conclusion of the Drowning Empire trilogy by Andrea Stewart. This is one of my top favorite fantasy series of all time. I just love it so much. It's a perfect blend between fantasy, sci-fi, horror. It's outstanding. The heart magic system, which is based on Borshan magic, it's so out of this world. It seems creepy, but turns out that it's very interesting. The premise is phenomenal. We follow different grey characters with very compelling backstories, with very unique motivations, and it's a book that is just so well written, that it's so, you know, fantastic and really changing topics. A very surprising release for me. It's A Chorus of True Love, which is the conclusion in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. Now, the first book for me was like, no, I'm not seeing the charm. Second book broke me. This world, it's so lush. The writing style of Stephanie Garber, it's so magical. If I could live in a world, would be this Caravel world. And really the story that it's being unfolded with this series, especially with book 2, it's so Beautiful. And these are the top 10 plus 3 most anticipated releases of 2023. Let me know down below what are those that you will absolutely read. If you have others under the radar, there are so many good books out there. So please let me know and I'll try to read them.